The smallest action can create the biggest change in your life. Here's how. The first thing I want to look at is rewriting your inner narrative. Hey! Do you know I shouted like a village woman? Because this one was tough for me. I remember I was in a class and I was listening to this guy teach. And he started talking. Then all of a sudden he just said, if you do not have an identity, you would answer to anything that you are called. I'm like, what? It was, when something heavy hits you in the right place at the right time for the right reason and season. That's exactly what happened to me. I was like, what? And so I did this. They say yes. I said, please, can you repeat that statement again? And the guy said it again. If you do not have an identity, you would answer to anything that you are called. I sat down after that conversation and I started to introspect. And so I asked myself, what identity do I have? And I started to write things down. My identity is, I am a loser. My identity was, I would amount to nothing. My identity was, nobody loved me. My identity was, I am undeserving of love and kindness. My identity was, anybody who comes close will leave me anyways. So there's no point connecting with anybody because they will go. In fact, I had this phrase, I am not a relationship person. That's what I used to say. So I don't do relationships. That was my identity. And so many more. I'm a hopeless wife. I'm a useless mother. I'm a terrible stepmother. I had all that identity that I had. A lot of them were not created by me, but they were duplicated by me. And they were made personal by me. Because I believed what other people said so much about me that it became who I was. If you resonated with anything I just said right now, then you're not alone, because I also had a terrible identity about myself. Now, what they said was, if you don't have an identity, I did have an identity. It was just a very negative identity. And if I've spoken to 100 people, I kid you not, 95%, and I'm trying to be very modest, of the people that I've spoken to, especially professionally, why would they be coming to me if they had the best identity of themselves, right? The identity that they have given themselves is so bad, so negative. I'm not enough. Nobody wants me. The list is endless and you know it. I will never amount to anything. My children hate me. I hate my children. My spouse hates me. I hate my spouse. My in-laws are terrible. I hate my in-laws. My in-laws hate. Consistently, we are only focused on the negative things. And I remember Job in the Bible paying sacrifices in advance of the sins that his children had not yet committed, but he believed they would commit it. So when damage came into his life, he said, what I feared the most has come upon me. Now, whatever identity you carry about yourself is who you end up being, because that's all you know. That's the only energy that you're putting out there. Remember, seek and you shall find. Yes, if you seek more reasons to have that terrible identity, then you will find more reasons to keep having that identity. So what he said struck me, but I took it to the next level by saying, I do have an identity. I just have a terrible identity about myself. And so for me to then change my identity, I have to do what? Rewrite my inner narrative, period. So I changed my identity. And so I started to write. I was thinking, what would I call myself? I didn't even know. They only taught us how to praise God. They didn't teach us how to praise ourselves, because you have to be proud or prouding, like Nigerians will call it as a slang, for you to praise yourself. So it's only God. And so I will be saying things and I'll add God in it. I'm like, but it's not God I'm praising. It's me I'm hailing this time around. I want to create a positive identity for myself. So I attended a course, and this is why it's so important for you to keep growing, for you to keep attending courses and conferences and reading, because you only but can grow. And who does growth help? You, but not just you, everybody around you. Because when you're growing, you're seeing things in a different way, and the things that you see become very different. And so you can even start to teach people how to see that way. So I sat down and I said, okay, who would I like to be? Because I couldn't connect with who I wanted to who I was on a positive level. So I said, who would I like to be? If I could be anything, what would that thing be? Right? And Abraham Hicks taught me this sentence, wouldn't it be nice if? So it's not me saying this is who I am now and then telling myself, but you know you are not that. It was me dreaming about the possibility of who I could be. And wouldn't it be nice if? And that exercise I'm going to share with you today. Wouldn't it be nice if I XYZ, XYZ, or I am? Because I also learned that anything that comes after I am is creative. And that's why God says, I am dash that I am. Yes, he didn't say dash, I added dash. So you, what is your dash? What is that dash that you are, I am dash that I am. That's the exercise I want to share with you today. And so I started writing, I am air. And so why am I air? Because I'm not just air for being air's sake, but I'm air because I want to give people a reason to live, love, and breathe. Ooh, that sat so well in my spirit. And then the next thing I wrote was, I am light. I want to bring clarity and understanding and awareness in every situation I find myself in. I swear down. I started to feel myself. Then I wrote, I am love. Unconditional love is what I wrote at the time. I love because it is who I am. Because I was learning so much about love at the time and who God is to me and how God is pure love. And then I wrote, another day I was meditating and I heard this sentence, you're an example on earth that I exist. That resonated so deeply with my soul. So I wrote that down. So my identity became, I am air. I give people a reason to live, love, and breathe. I am light. I bring clarity and understanding. I'm unconditional love. I love because it's who I am. And I'm an example on earth that God exists. That's what I wrote then. I've modified it now and added a few more things that I've either received or created. And it just keeps getting better and better. Now, at the time I wrote any of these things, I wasn't any of those things. Or I didn't feel like I was any of those things. But the more I reminded myself of who I chose to be, the more it resonated with my soul and my spirit, and the more it resonated with my body, the more it resonated with my character, the more it resonated with my essence and my being, that I started to live like that person because that's who I decided to be. What about you today? What are you going to rewrite? What story, what negative story or identity of yours are you going to rewrite today? Remember, you can be whatsoever you choose to be. There's no stopping you. There's no cap. In fact, if there's a cap, you're the one that put it there. You can be anything. At some point, I started to call myself a life giver and a kingmaker and a love being. My friend called me and I loved it and I added it. Like I said, now you get title. So you can see that as I'm saying it, I'm even smiling because deep down within me, that's who I believe that I am and who I believe that I show up as no matter what. You can't control the storm, but you can steer your ship. Vishen Lakiani says. You can rewrite your story today just by sitting down and saying, who do I choose to be now? Okay, so this is who I said I was, all right. But this is who I choose to be now. And you can start with, wouldn't it be nice if you cannot immediately connect, because I couldn't. I will write it and say me. I'm not any of these things. But the moment I wrote, wouldn't it be nice if? What if? What if? What would that dash be for me? What's that dash that I am? What is that dash? So what is your dash today? That you will start to say that you are. Because that dash is limitless. That dash is, it could be anything you choose it to be. You're unstoppable. That dash should be a dash that when you write it 20, 30, 40 years from now, in fact, what has started happening to me is that when people introduce me to people, you will hear things like, she's the light in our darkness. She's the quiet in our storm. Kai! Ha! Do you know how my head swells when they say that? Not because they've said that or they're validating her. No, what it is that's how I feel, and that's who I say I am, to the point where others now are beginning to see it. It doesn't change how I feel about myself. So it's almost like they are pouring into my overflow of how I already feel about myself. So that's what I'm going to ask you to do today. Create a vision for yourself. Create an identity for yourself. And not just am I rooting for you, but God is rooting for you also. Because imagine how He feels when you finally know who you are. Hi there, my name is Adeola Kingsley James. I really do hope that these videos that I'm creating for you is doing exactly what I want them to do, which is to move you needle by needle to finding your greatness. Because I found mine, and now I'm giving the opportunity to find yours. Like the videos, please, don't forget. Subscribe and share me with other people. And one last thing, click the notification bell below so that when my videos drop, you'll be the first person to get them. Love and light. My name is Adeola.